Project Ultimate Life. Today we have Steph, who happens to be our video editor and social media gal currently, who is working on this project with us. The thing about Steph that you need to know is she is an awesome human. And as a result of that, I wanted to get this chance to interview her to kind of get her story out there, to also be able to inspire, empower, and motivate people to live happy, healthy, sustainable lives, because their life is their journey, is their choice. And Steph is, I would say, a living example of what that means to overcome challenges and obstacles and just be somebody who is a light in this world, and she doesn't even know it. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, Steph, tell us a little bit about your background, okay, where you come from, how you got to here now.
Okay. Well, I am originally from Cameroon, but I was born and raised in the UAE, in Sharjah. And so, spent most of my life in the UAE and then moved to Qatar here when I was like 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good age.
Yeah, good age. Good age to start my own life, I feel. So I currently work as you're a video editor with Project Ultimate Life, and I'm also an athlete. I play rugby. I play for 2 different club teams, the Chameleons and Qatar Camels, and I also play and train with the national women's team as well.
Amazing.
And I'm a rugby coach too, so I'm a rugby coach for Oryx Rugby Academy, which is awesome. They're a really cool bunch of guys, and the team that they have is awesome. So that's really fun. But above all that, I'm a mother of 2 boys, and I am a wife to an awesome husband. So.
Yeah. Amazing.
So check. Yeah. Yeah. So, getting to this point in my life, it really took a lot of steps.
Tell us about those steps.
Man.
Let's go way back.
Way back. Okay. So I'll take it way back to when I was a teenager. I feel like that's when things just started happening in my life. And I won't say, great things. There were some great things that were going on. For example, I started playing rugby when I was 15. I had a really cool bunch of friends in school that were also part of my team as well. So it was really an awesome environment to be in. And then a couple things started happening with my family. So my dad got made redundant. So my dad, he used to be a electrical engineer. He worked in telecoms, and he really built his career up. He really made his way up the ladder to a very respectable position. And then all of a sudden got made redundant for, I'm not even sure as to the reason why till today. But that really set us back drastically, as a family, financially. So I went from having an awesome childhood as an expat, really, really awesome childhood. And then early teenage years were really cool, really fun. And then after some time, my dad got made redundant. It was like what's happening, and I didn't really know when I wasn't told, as I think now that I'm a parent, I understand, why I wasn't told. I feel like parents don't really want to tell their kids, when things are going down south. Parents don't want to make their kids worry. So we weren't told anything, so we're just living life still like it's normal. But then I started seeing my dad more and more at home, why are you at home? This is weird, And then, things started, issues started happening, we have to move, we can't afford that, we can't do this, can't do that, and it felt very, awkward. I can easily adjust to different situations, but that was hard for me, not being able to do the things that I used to do. The point where I felt like oh my God, my life is over, was when my dad was oh, you can't like, we can't pay for university. Because I was so invested in my education. Like, I knew at that point in time, I knew, like, I want to be a meteorologist. I want to be a research meteorologist. I love weather. I love, like, everything about
That's so
the
cool.
natural world. So I was so eager. I knew what I was going to do. I knew, like, what I was going to study as a bachelor's, and then as a master's, and then what job I was going to, you know? Like, I mentally had paved this road for myself, and all of a sudden, that was gone. And it was really hard because it's like, you know, you're getting your acceptance letters from universities and stuff, and it's like, oh, I can't go anymore. You know? So that was...
First of all, that is so unique that you were had the clear path.
Yeah.
What did that do to you, especially as an adolescent? Like, what message did that send, or how did that make you feel?
Like, at first, I felt like, man, my life was over. Because I actually had left, like, I had decent grades to the extent where I could leave at grade 12, or some people say year 12. So after doing, like, my AS levels, I had actually planned to go to university. And I got accepted into all the universities that I applied to. And then I had to, like, start writing out letters like, oh, I can't come anymore, like, you know. And even some of them were like, okay, we'll give you, like, a rugby scholarship, and, you know. So I was like, oh, but you still have to pay this amount. And I was like, like, I can't pay anything. So now that was just completely out the window. I think I was really, like, I would say I became depressed, but I felt like, man, life is just hopeless at this point. I was like 17. I was like, life is hopeless. And I think I was like that for I felt like that for, like, a good year, I'll be honest. I was lucky, though, that my close friends were doing year 13. So I had not taken a space for year 13, so I couldn't attend that school. But my teachers were so, like, amazing, to the extent where they're like, tell her to come in and she can be, like, our assistant.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where my work life, my work career, you know, that's when that started to kick off. So I was really lucky, like, because even before I got that opportunity, my sister Alina, she sat me down one day. And I don't think I'll ever forget this. Like, she sat me down one day and she's like, you know, you need to find a way to help yourself. Like, we are probably going to be in this situation for a long while. So if you want to get things going for yourself, for your life, you have to do something. And I felt like, I already knew, like, she didn't have to tell me that, but the fact that she was telling me that was like, I felt like, oh my God, like, so much pressure. But I'm happy that I chose to take it in a direction, like, in a positive direction. Like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Like, I'm going to go for it. So luckily enough.
Very empowering.
Yeah, like, I'm very lucky, like, to have her. Like, she's really that person for me that's like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Like, you know, like, in my ear. Like, but I'm very grateful that she said that, because I knew it. But it's, I don't know, when someone else is telling you it, you feel like, whoa, okay, yeah, I really do need to help myself. So I was lucky enough, like, my friends were like, hey, like, our teachers are saying that you should come in. And I was like, why? Like, why should I go in? It was kind of embarrassing. Like, I felt embarrassed. I went in, and they're like, how would you like to be this, that, this? You can help me with this, help me with that. Like, a lab technician, a French tutor, helping kids with their geography coursework, stuff like that. Help coaching with the PE department, you know. So I was like, okay, cool, like, why not? So I did that for a whole year. And even though I did that for a whole year, I still, like, deep down inside felt like I could have had that chance. You know, I really could have had that chance. But I just, you know, pushed it down, to be honest. I pushed it down, and I was like, let's just keep moving forward, you know. after that 1 year, you know, in the middle of all of that, I was playing rugby. I was really like excelling in rugby. When I turned 18, I became eligible to play with the women's team, right? So when I was able to do that, the UAE national team then were like, "Can you come for tryouts?" And I did really well, became part of the UAE national team. I did that for 2 years. So, you know, traveling abroad to like India, playing against other international teams. And at some point I felt like, you know, I'm a really good rugby player, like, you know, playing locally. Like in my head, you know, I never ever would say it out loud.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I've that's something that I always tried to do, was to remain humble. Okay. And but you know, in my head I was like, you know, I'm training these many, like I trained a lot, like maybe twice a day, because I felt like, you know, I had a lot of time now that I'm not going to university anymore, like, you know, like trying to make use of my time in my day. And so I trained a lot, worked out a lot, and I thought I was like, in my head, you know, like I'm a really good, I'm like one of the fastest runners, and I'm like one of the highest top try scorers, you know, until I went abroad. And I got even like more humbled, man. Like I was like, oh snap, like this is like real deal competition. Like I actually felt, but I felt good about it. Like I felt like, okay, actually no, I've got so much more work to do. So rugby really helped me to, I feel, create like a safe space for me. Like it felt almost like a sanctuary amongst all the mess that was going on in my life. Like it really helped me to just focus on something that was beneficial for myself, even though I couldn't go to university. So it felt like a replacement at the time, you know? So I was really like, I'm still really grateful for this sport. Like I love it so much. And then, you know, eventually got into more part-time jobs that just came my way, which I was lucky to. Like more of, like most of it was like people just, you know, word of mouth. Oh, like, you know, are you doing much nowadays? Do you think you can help me out with my company? Or, you know, so helping out, like, so I did like, I'll tell you what I did, man. I did like a food delivery job. I did an administrator job at a hearing aid company. Which I like, that was like my primary job, I would say, at some point. And then I did a journalism job as a rugby reporter for the golf rugby paper. So I was going here and there, like, you know, reporting rugby games and stuff. So like that was really cool for me, and it was just, all these jobs really gave me, like it really got me going. I feel like it really gave me the chance to just feel hopeful that I will achieve a goal at some point. I don't think I really had a goal anymore. You know, I was at that point just trying to get by. You know, trying to earn whatever I could earn for myself. And at the same time, you know, I was also trying to have fun. I was only like 18, 19 years old, you know. I felt like, you know, yeah, this is life, you know. Good moments, bad moments. Right now, a lot more bad moments. But if you're not enjoying life to some extent, like I felt like I would be miserable, you know? So I made sure of that. But yeah, at some point, I then got a full-time job offer here in Qatar, and I was like, you know what? This is my ticket to actually starting like a career, or to really starting my own life away from my parents.
Yeah.
Like, not to make it sound bad, like I need to get away from my parents, but like just for me to start my own journey. You know?
Absolutely.
And so coming here to Qatar was, I don't know, it was like a mix of feelings. Like, of course I was like kind of heartbroken because I felt like I'm leaving my family behind.
So there was some loss.
Yeah. Like I felt like I was leaving them behind in the whole financial mess, and, you know, I wish that I could have stayed with them and helped them, but I knew that if I stayed, I personally probably wouldn't be achieving as much as I could have, you know? So I knew that leaving was probably, like, change was probably the best thing for me. So once I did, I made sure to, I really made sure to make use of the time that I had. Like, I now created like little goals here and there. I still didn't have like an ultimate goal. Like, I got a job to be a cabin crew, and a part of me had this feeling like, I'm not gonna do this forever, but I loved the field of aviation. I thought it was really cool. So I was like thinking, okay, what could I do? Let's say if I'm a crew for like 5 years or something, what could I do next? Like, what could my next job be within aviation? Like, how can I grow? So I was, that was where my mindset was at from the very beginning. But of course, I got sidetracked, living the life of a cabin crew. Like, you're traveling here and there, your schedule is very busy, you lose track of time. Honestly, like, time flies.
Literally.
Ironically.
Literally flies.
Yeah, like, so I remember even thinking back, like, it would be a new year. And looking back, I would reflect and be like, what did I achieve? Like, what did I didn't achieve anything. Finances. Didn't save as much as I could have. So I used to do that every year, and then came to realize I should probably be doing that every 3 months or so, because
quarterly check-in.
Yeah, because that wasn't working.
Yeah. So
at that point, I was just trying to figure out life for myself. Now that I started my journey, I was like, okay, what's the end goal? Now, the idea of being a meteorologist was still, like, there in my heart, but I was like, the schedule of a cabin crew, now trying to enroll in a university, and some universities are so expensive. I was like, I would need to save this much more money, but then the scheduling, like, it just didn't feel right, and it didn't fit right. So I was like, a part of me was kind of like dropping that idea now of being a meteorologist. And then the more that I traveled, the more that I realized that I actually like meeting locals. People, interestingly enough, like to share their stories.
Yeah.
They like to share their stories, their experiences, So what I used to do sometimes is, if I met a local, I'd be like, and she is open to talking to me. Like, I would just talk, like, what's life like for example, in Thailand? Like, what's life like for you, like, living here? And, funny enough, like, most people have similar stories. They're really just trying to get by.
Yeah. Worldwide.
Yeah, they're just trying to get by. So, but of course, there would be different elements here and there, in their story. And then later on was like, can I record you? So now I started getting into creating little documentaries. And then I realized, what, I really enjoy this, like, just keeping things simple and then recording it and making it, like, I don't know, finding the art within storytelling, So then that's when I got into film and documentary filmmaking and video editing. And I was lucky enough. At that time, I met my husband and my boyfriend, and we were out one day, and we were in a cafe, saw some guys sat at a table with, like, film equipment. And I was just, like, staring, like, like, awkwardly staring. And he's looking at me, and my boyfriend's looking at me, well, my husband is looking at me, and he's like, just go talk to them. And I was like, what? Like, thing is, most people think I'm a social butterfly, okay? But I have moments where I can be extremely antisocial. Like, where I just want to be, I don't want to actually, like, talk to people. And, I go through waves of
Would
that.
you identify as an introvert or an extrovert? Oh, man. Who do you get your energy from? It's very simple. Do you get your energy? Do you rejuvenate your energy when you're alone? Or do you regenerate your energy when you're with people? I am an extrovert. when I'm around people, my energy goes up. However, I also need my downtime.
Yeah.
I need my time away from people, and sometimes I don't feel that burst. Usually if my cup isn't full, then I'm not overabundant in my desire to be interactive. But for the most part, being around people will energize me versus take the energy away. Yeah. So this is the kind of the distinguisher.
And it also depends, like, who are you around? Like,
are they energy vampires or are they filling you? Right.
Yeah. So I think that's what I'm similar to you then. Like, at that moment, I was like, I don't really feel like walking up to strangers. Like, it's not a stranger, it's strangers, and being like, oh, you know, like, they'll look at me like weird, you know?
Yeah,
I had that. It's like, they'll think I'm a weirdo. And I tell you, man, like, this is what happened. So he was like, just go to this. I was like, okay, fine. And I went up to them. I was like, hi, guys. I was like, hi, guys. How's it going? They're like, yeah, it's good. We're good. And I was like, oh, can I have a look at your lens? And they were like, yeah, okay. And I was like, I was looking at their lens, like, proper, looking at it. And one of the guys, they were just, like, staring at me like, this is weird. You know? And I just didn't know what to say as well. And then one of the guys just started talking to me like, oh, like, you know, asking me questions. And then they're like, just sit down. Come, like, sit down. And I sat with them for maybe, I think, an hour. Like, whilst Osama and my best friend were at the other table. Like, I was so, like, into what the conversation was about, film, everything film, what they do. And it was really enlightening for me. So I, of course, took their details and stuff, and some of them, like, have become my mentor, like, when it comes to film and everything like that. So I'm really happy that I got into this. Like, it gives me the tingles. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it really excites me when I think about film and documentaries and just having someone to talk with about that. Like, and they really encouraged me to grow. And they were open to teaching me things like, this is what it's like in the market. These are the softwares that you use. This is a good camera. No, don't get that one. Get this one. You know, like, they really guided me. So that's how I got into film and documentaries and all of that, and video editing. Like, I still have, you know, goals that I want to achieve within this realm. But I feel like, you know, I'm slowly getting to the point where I feel like I want to be. Yeah. You know?
How important do you feel goals are for people?
Oh, gosh. I feel like if you don't have goals, what are you doing? Like, how is life for you? Like, if you don't have goals? Like, I feel like I envision a person just, like, on the couch, just chilling, you know? So I think goals really drive a person. I feel like goals really create a definition of what your life could even become, you know? And I think that's exciting. Like, for me, especially when I was younger, going through all of that, I remember my best friend calling me one day. She was going through something, and she was like, how did you manage? Like, how did you keep going? And I told her, I feel like it's just the idea of the fact that this is life and there are endless possibilities. Like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, that makes me curious, you know? I want to know. So let's get into the next day and find out, like, you know, like, the eagerness to know what's going to happen next. But, of course, having goals, like, will actually, like, it'll make that happen, of course, but it will get you to a point where you actually want to be as well in your life. Yeah. And that would make you feel, like, fulfilled. That would make you feel happy, you know?
Ultimately, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How important do you feel the people that you have in your life, your influences, are on you?
Like, honestly, a big deal. Like, the people that you surround yourself with will either make or break you. You know, being around my family when things went south, like, they were the ones that were around me. I had my best friends around me as well. And I didn't, like, publicize that, oh, guys, I'm going through, like, financial struggles. Like, I kept that to myself because I felt, like, a part of me felt embarrassed about it. But my friends really were like, listen, this is like a sinkhole in the road,
Mm-hmm.
you can get around that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they really made me feel like I can get through this, and I will get through this. You know, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving
Mm-hmm.
as well. They really instilled that in me, and same with my family as well. Like, they really helped me get by.
Yeah. How much does mindset play a role in one's ability to have perseverance, to grit, you know,
Yeah.
to get through things?
Like, your mindset is everything. Like, if you're trying to persevere and become like resilient as well, the way that you think about the situation, the way that you think about yourself, even, it matters. You know, do you believe that you are gonna get out of this situation? You are gonna overcome this challenge? You're gonna jump over that obstacle? Do you believe? If you don't believe that, it's not gonna happen. It might happen, but not as easily or as well as you think. You know, like, if you have like a positive mindset, like, that can take you just as far, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we've talked about, you know, grit, perseverance, mindset. What about discipline? What is discipline to you? How does it play a role in your life?
Well, okay, so discipline, I'll be honest, okay, that is where I struggle.
I think we all
sometimes.
struggle. We all struggle. This is not a you. This is a we, right?
Yeah, like, it's hard. That is a challenge in itself, like, being disciplined.
Yeah.
I have met a couple of people that are really disciplined, and I'm amazed. Like, you're one of those people for me.
Yeah.
You know, you're actually really disciplined, and that
Yeah, the thing is, though,
me.
hold on. I'd like to intercede here. I can be very disciplined when I'm being disciplined.
Yeah.
But when I allow distractions to come into my world, or I misprioritize my time, or my mindset shifts, then my discipline goes out the window until I get back on track. Like, I think one thing that I have become very good at, that I would even personally like to sharpen the knife even further on, is, you know, there is an abundance and endless amounts of lifestyles that we can live, right? We can party, we can stay up late, we can binge watch Netflix, and the amount of distractions that are around in this planet are so many, right? Yeah. And so I, just as everybody else, will be on a wagon of like, I do this, I do this, I do this. And then for some reason, something switches, something else feels really good. You know, maybe it is that binge of a Netflix, and then it'll be 2 days later, I've like done nothing but Netflix. Yeah. This doesn't happen all the time, but I can jump off the wagon, fall off the wagon, and it doesn't have to be with, you know, I think typically it's like you fall off the wagon, it's like with drugs or alcohol. No, it's the wagon of like life. Yeah. And so if you're eating healthy food and you're getting a lot of sleep and you're drinking a lot of water, like, you're exercising, you're having really healthy, positive social interactions, those are core, essential things, habits to have that can kind of keep us on the wagon. But once we start to lose sight, this is specific for me, like, I have goals. I think goals are one of the most important things you can have on this planet. And action steps taken daily to achieve those goals are also absolutely essential for accomplishing goals. However, I think what happens for a lot of people sometimes is we do fall off the wagon of whatever it is that we're trying to do, and then we just never jump back on. Because then the mindset kicks in of, oh, I'm not worthy, or, you know, I'm all these things. And then those thoughts, which then turn into beliefs, become the reality that we then live. So we jump on a wagon, we fall off. Okay, no more jumping on that wagon. Redefine the wagon. Jump back on a new wagon. Okay, fall off. But I think the trick with discipline, at least, especially while if we're not people who are naturally disciplined, you know, I have friends who are naturally just like, man, they stick to this. These are the habits and routines that they learned when they were young, and they do not falter. I know a lot of people that jump on and off that wagon. They'll go on clean eating. They'll be really great with things. Yeah, I'm one of them too. I am so one of them too. And it's a constant, like, this is, I feel like, my life's journey challenge is figuring out how do you stay directionally focused, okay? Because I think this is the key. Stay directionally focused on where you want to go, because you have defined this goal or this future that you want for yourself. And when that wagon is going and you fall off, just run. Yeah. Jump back on. Okay? Whether it's a day, a week, or a month.
Yeah.
Jump back on that wagon, okay?
Yeah.
And get yourself back so that you're not losing too much momentum, but understanding that we can stay there. I know I just totally took away
Why
from
did I picture you running, though? Like, I picture you
catch up to that wagon. Like, I'm on that. Please, my train. You know?
Yeah.
And so, So I think discipline, this is why I bring this up, is because it is one of those things.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? What do you know that maybe you're working on for discipline itself? Or is this something you're still like at the beginning with?
No, I feel like it's something that I always go back to the beginning with. Like especially with creating projects and things like that. Like, I used to create a lot of projects. That's something that I always made sure that I would make consistent. Like, that's something that I always made sure that I was consistent with.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, like, discipline came in.
Mm-hmm. Do you follow through with those projects?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Like, not anymore, but it's always still there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to get back on, because I feel like I use excuses, like, for example, work or my kids or my rugby life, you know, like it's so easy to use to make excuses and to use external things that are going on, like, to just derail you off your track, you know. But the way and how that I get back on that wagon is by looking back on things.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'll look back, like, I have my
reflecting.
Yeah, reflecting, and then, like, I have my online portfolio, right? That's where I used to put all my projects on. When I go back on, I'm like, man, like, I really need to get back on this. Then I will start writing, like, ideas down, and, you know, then that's how the whole process starts up again, you know? And then I fall back off, you know? At some point, like, something makes me fall, like, I use something, or something actually makes me fall back off.
Do you feel like it's because, okay, so something that I have been reflecting on with myself recently, because I picked up this, like, 2.5 month gig as a commercial operations manager for AFC with the local organizing committee in partnership with AFG. Okay, so a lot of new terminology. But this has been a distraction, would you say, from working on Project Ultimate Life. But what I have learned in this, being the person who was driving the work with Project Ultimate Life, or like the mission, the purpose, like what we're trying to achieve, I found, unless I have people that I'm collaborating and working with to help drive that, solely driving something can be very demotivating. However, now that I'm in this new role, and I think that this is like, we're definitely going to take this into, you know, this project for sure, is this idea that my manager, my boss, is like, this has to be done today. And inside, I'm freaking out, probably a little bit on the outside too. I don't hide my emotions while I'm working on it. Is that, you know, how am I going to get that done today? So I feel with extrinsic, where I would like to get to, but I feel like there's a balance between like that intrinsic motivation, but then also setting up external kind of goals. So I've got this race coming up. There's a competition. I have to make sure I'm getting ready for it. There has this YouTube deadline that we're going to do. Like, we have to get ready for this. But having that extrinsic, this person being like, no, this needs done today, somehow that just like lights a fire. And it's like, okay, I will achieve this. I'm at the office till 8, 9, 10, multiple, like all week, right? Working on the youth program, like doing these things. And this is just clicking for me that if I took this amount of intensity and created these extrinsic, even though this is not in the field of education, we want it to be intrinsically driven, you know, we want the students to want, but I think with humans that, I don't know if we're completely dialed in that way. I feel like it's a fight, like a fight or flight, okay, or stand still, or kind of thrive or survive, you know, like this is like where we kind of go with these. And so extrinsic, intrinsic.
Like, I think it really does help when you have that person telling you, listen, have you done this? Or this needs to be done. Like, it really does help, like, especially when you do it with me. But you don't do that a lot. You just, you're more like, where are we at with this? You know? Which is, I like that too, you know? But when you do say, okay, this needs to be out, like this weekend, like that actually like fires me up. Like you said, it really does help. And I feel like that person for me right now is my husband as well.
Good.
Did you do this? Have you done that? Why are you not doing this anymore? You should do that. Like he's that person who uplifts me. He's that person who encourages me and tells me to really go for the thing that I need to do.
Yeah.
You know? So I feel like everybody needs to have that person. You know what I'm saying?
And so this is not out yet, but over the last year and a half, within Project Ultimate Life, we have been working on a planner called the Empowered Day Method, okay? This is not a plug, but I'm going to talk about this because this really speaks to it. Over the last year and a half, like 15 months it's taken me to kind of come, this is not a plug, this is just, okay, reality. We've been working on a planner, which you know, is the Empowered Day Planner that coincides with the Empowered Day Method. And over the course of this, I would say for me it's been like a 5, since 2017 when I first said, Project Ultimate Life, this is something I'm working on. I have to start with myself. I'm not living the life, the relationship, the discipline, all of it that I want to be, even though the journey is great, it can be better. So this was the thinking. So now through trial and error, jumping on those wagons, jumping on new wagons. The wagons are just going through. Okay, that train is running. And I'm running, catching up, falling off, like doing all these things. It has become so clear what I need, which means if I need it, many people need it, is that there is a structured system that not only focuses on productivity, but also optimization to be able to fuel the productivity and can provide as an indicator to kind of create more intrinsic motivation with knowing that the extrinsic is developing the goals. And so it supports goals, it supports your daily habits to develop the goals to get the outcomes that you want and the results that you desire. So this is going to come out so soon. I'll share it with you, obviously. But I feel like this can be something, a tool and a strategy, because I think we all struggle with this. Definitely. This is not a unique to you and I kind of a situation.
Yeah. And I do want to say that it is okay to fall off the wagon, no matter how many times. But what matters is that you get back on the wagon. And again, no matter how many times you actually fall off, and then get back on, you're actually taking that next step forward. And
the knowledge with you.
Exactly.
That you gain, the skills. When you were talking, this made me think about this. So you did all those jobs over the years, right? And you were picking up skill sets.
Oh, yeah.
Did you leave those skill sets behind?
No,
right?
No.
So every time we're trialing something or we're trying to push ourselves to a new level, we're taking that knowledge that we had from before with us. Yeah. So nothing's actually failed as long as we do the 5 steps forward, 2 steps back, 10 steps forward, 18 steps back, you know? As long as that, we never lose that knowledge and experience, as long as we continue to try, right?
Yeah. I'm happy that I actually knew that, very early on, that as long as I just keep trying, I'm gonna eventually reach a point, which is my goal, Early on, I didn't know what my goal was at some point, but, I knew that if I just kept going, I would reach a point where I was happy. I would be happy. Yeah.
So, let's go ahead and pretend like we're talking to that person early on, okay?
Oh, okay.
So, if somebody's out there and they're listening to this, and it's the beginning of their journey, okay? What is some advice that you have to them to help them to either identify their goals, to get to where they want to go, reach their full potential, their max?
Well, if we're talking about figuring out what your goals are, okay, I would say start by writing down all the things that you like. You might actually find something within that list that you may want to make your ultimate goal.
Okay.
Remember that there are no limitations, because I think it's so easy to impose limitations on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying this earlier, and I was like, yeah, I completely agree. It's so easy to be I'll be honest with you.
Please don't lie.
I have this goal in my head, which I personally battle. I feel like I'm in a battle with myself. I can achieve this. I don't know if I can achieve this,
mm-hmm.
And that goal is to become a director. a director and possibly direct a war film.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm very into like war genres.
Okay.
I'm into a lot of genres, but war is one of my top favorites. But I've always had this idea of what, I'm gonna make a really good war film, and or be a director making really awesome documentaries.
You can do both.
Yeah, exactly. So like there is that thing where I impose limitations on myself with that. But the thing is that there are no limits. All it takes is to figure out what the goal is and then take the needful steps to make it to that goal. So for that person, he needs to hear that. If you don't know what you want to do or have no clue about life, like just write down everything that you like. And explore that list. Like, you might have to do a bit of research. You might have to put in a bit of work. You might have to meet some people who are doing those things in their lives. Like, talk with them. Because that might actually motivate you. That might actually inspire you, So, your resources are all over the place. Don't shut yourself in. So, that's what I would say. Like, just start by writing down what you like. And working from there.
Is there anybody that's particularly inspired you?
Inspire myself.
Me too.
No, but you know what? That's always been a tough question for me, because I don't think there's just one person in particular. Like each person I've met in my life, I feel like has inspired me in some kind of way. So I don't really have that person, but like for example, like my dad, Cameroonian man, went from living in Cameroon, funded himself. I think he got scholarships back in I don't know how long ago that was,
back
like
in the
19, made it to the UK, full scholarship. I think he did a master's. Yeah, he did master's as well, full scholarship. Like he worked so hard, and then got a really awesome job in the UAE, so like that's someone that inspires me to believe that there are no limitations. Like I know a lot of people till today that don't go for it. They don't go for it. They make excuses instead and then blame others for that. And my dad has never been that person. So I'm like, when I think back on his life, even though he got made redundant, like things happened to him, that's life, but I feel inspired by that. I have friends, I have like my siblings, like I have 7 other siblings, like yeah, like I'm inspired, like
it's more than the Brady Bunch.
There's something, within each person that inspires me.
What does your life, your journey, your choice mean to you?
Like, what are you aiming towards? What do you want your journey to be like? I want my journey to be awesome. Like, I want to be able to be like 80 and be like, kids, like, or tell my grandkids, like, you can make it what you want it to be, like, despite all the challenges, obstacles, and hardships that you'll face, and that is part of life, having challenges, obstacles. It helps you grow. It helps you become a more resilient, stronger, better human being as well, and your choice, oh man, like you have, like I feel like we make choices all the time, and every single choice that we decide to make ultimately, creates our journey, our life, so what choices are you making? Like for me, I feel like I want to make choices that will benefit me, and not just me, my family, my friends even. How am I being with my friends? Like, there's so many things that you have to bear in mind, like when it comes to making choices. And I feel like if you choose to make good choices, it will not just benefit you, but everybody else as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Remember, your life, your journey, your choice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Steph.
Thanks, Jeff.